Okay, this is post-license. Second session, we're doing pricing property tonight. That's the first thing that somebody's probably going to ask you. If you're going to call them out to do a listing, they're going to say, what do you think it's worth? Well, you need to have all your information ready for them when you get there and sit down. Because you need to have it in your head fresh. Here's what has sold around you, and here's one like yours, and you've got to be able to show them, here's the range it's going to sell in. You don't want to just say, well, I don't know. They're selling, I don't know, about 100,000 around here. No, you got to be confident. And you got to back your confidence up with facts. And that's what we're going to look at tonight, is all the subjective and objective stuff that goes into pricing property. So let's get started. Pricing property, we've got some objectives. Our learning objectives tonight are to explain to the seller the current market conditions. They don't know. Just today, somebody called me about their son was buying a house, and they were going through the mortgage process, and they were fixing to lock in the rates. And I told her, I said, you know, the Fed dropped the rates 1/4 point today. What's that going to do to mortgage rates? Probably going to drop. Today's probably not the day to lock them in. You need to wait a day or two. These are the kind of things most people are not paying attention to. As agents, as professionals, we're supposed to pay attention to this stuff and advise our clients. They don't know. We got to demonstrate to them, here's why I'm saying it should be this price. A CMA, and don't ever use the word CMA with your sellers or your buyers. They don't know what that means. Comparative market analysis. You use those big words, that'll impress them. Not just, here's what's sold around you. And then you've got to be able to explain all of this to them. Here's why we think it will sell. And if we price it too high, what's going to happen? We price it right, what's going to happen? And we may even come in and price it a little low. And that may create more demand on that property, because people that are out in the market looking, they're not just looking at your house. They've been looking at everything that's available. Zillow, you can go on Zillow right now and put your address in, and it'll tell you, I mean, as soon as you hit the enter button, it'll say it's worth this. And they think, well, that's what mine's worth. Well, not necessarily. You take a community that has been there 30 years, 40 years. Well, a lot of these houses were exactly like in the beginning, but in the last 5-10 years, people have been flipping them. Now, what was a $100,000 house may be a $180,000 house. Well, the sellers are going on there and say, well, there's one across the street from me for $180,000. Yeah, but they just spent $50,000 updating it. Yours, it's still got shag carpet in it. You got to be able to explain these things. They don't understand. Here we go. There's a good example of it. Seller's willing to replace the roof, add a deck, put in a fireplace, an outdoor pool, an indoor pool, extend the living room 15 feet, move the whole place to the other side of town, then we'd be interested. You'll get that. And there's another thing in this business. You'll look at 4 or 5 houses, and they'll say, well, if I had the kitchen from here, and the great room from this one, and the deck from that one, and the view from that one, that's kind of what you're going to get. You're never going to find the perfect house. You're not. You can look at all of them, and there's going to be something wrong with every one of them. But what can you live with? Here's our overview of what we're going to be doing. We're going to analyze the market, and we're going to look at why we don't want to overprice it, why we should price it right, and then how to prepare it and then explain it. Pretty straightforward tonight. Last night was a lot of new stuff. This, you've probably seen this kind of stuff before. We start out when we're pricing with the big picture. First thing I mentioned tonight was the Fed has dropped the rate, cut the rate again, 1/4 point today. That's the big picture. That's going to affect everybody, not just Birmingham, Alabama. That's going to affect the whole market. How long properties have stayed on the market? Well, if the interest rates drop, now more people can afford that same price house. So more people can enter the market and buy a house. Rates start going up, then you can't afford as much house. You have fewer buyers for your property. So you got to start with the big picture. What's going on in the nation? And that's what you can go on here. This is realtor.org, and there's a realtor.com, Zillow. There's just a bunch of places that will give you really good information. Let's just take this one and just look and see what they've got to offer us as, there we go, good. Here's what the Realtor Association says. Existing home sales. Right here, here's our sales data for right now. Look at that. Sales are down 2.2% year over year. Does that tell you anything? What would that tell you? Sales are down by 2%. September, it was off. Why do you think they were off?
It was down. It's 2.5. That means it's a buyer's market, right?
Probably would indicate that. That's good.
And houses, well, either people aren't selling or they have overpriced houses.
Could be.
Yeah.
We've got another one here where prices are up, I think it's 4.5% year over year. All right, well, we may have hit that little inflection point to where we're going to have to settle in here for a minute before they can go up, or they'll start going down. This is over a long time, prices will go up generally. They're going up now. It was, like I said, 4.5% year over year, but sales are down. That's the curious thing. Why would they be down? Are people afraid to buy? Are they afraid of what's going to happen to their job? Because there's a lot going on with the economy right now, and debt. People have so much debt right now. They may just be afraid, and they're just kind of holding back right now to wait and see what's going to happen. This happens. A 2.2% decline year over year, that's a significant number. You would think it would be up because there are more people than there were a year ago. More demand for housing. This may be an indication of more people are moving in multiple generations into a house. You got to look at the bigger picture. What's going on everywhere? I think that's all I wanted to show on that one. Uh-oh. Didn't go back to slideshow. Thought I had this thing figured out. Fannie Mae, another overview. What they think is going to go on. Just take a quick look here, what they think. Oh, this was, I brought this one in because this was Fannie Mae. Y'all know that's one of the secondary buyers of mortgages. Their forecast, this is what they think is going to happen. But we're going to go back a year to what they thought was going to happen this year. So let's see what they thought.
See if they nailed it.
Let's see what they thought. October news release. Is that what I wanted? A year ago, Fannie Mae said interest rates at that time were about 4.5%. And they were projecting interest rates now to be about 6%. They said housing sales were going to be up. They're going to be building more houses. None of that's happened. Interest rates are down about a point. Sales are kind of down. Well, it's just said 2.5% down. Every forecast that they made this time, well, this is for this year. That should be in 2018, I guess. Every forecast they made was wrong. And here we were sitting around and we figured out just in a minute what things are going to do. Maybe they need to get us up there and help them do the forecast. But you're looking at the bigger picture, and that's what we're looking at here. Here's some Zillow. You can get information on Zillow too. Here we go. The medium price in the United States, $231,000. I'm okay with that. It says the change in home value up almost 5% year over year. That's historically normal. Housing prices over decades went up about 5% a year. So we're kind of hitting that. 231, that's a good one. Now here, monthly average rent, $1,600. Ouch. That'd be awful. But look at, this is bad here. Change in for sale inventory. This is houses that are on the market. Up here we had prices had changed. Here we've got the number of houses. There's 6.4% fewer houses on the market now for sale. There's only about a 4-month supply of houses for sale. That means if we stop putting new ones on the market, it takes 4 months before all of them sold. A healthy market needs 6 months. That way you've got liquidity in there, you can negotiate, you've got, everybody's equal. Here, if you've got only a 4-month supply, what's that going to do to prices? Going to bump them up. They're already bumping up. 4.8% they've gone up. But the inventory, that's seriously less inventory than we should have. What's going to happen is prices will start going up. Interest rates, interestingly, are coming down. Those things usually go the same. Try to slow the economy down when it starts overheating. But now we're going to have more people that can qualify, and there are going to be fewer houses on the market. All right, so that's the bigger picture. That's what we can say, okay, here's what's coming. What's it going to do to our model? And when we price houses, when we go into a seller and say, okay, here's what we think is going to happen. We think you'll be able to get top dollar for your house. According to the number up there, you should be able to get top dollar because there are fewer of them on the market. They should stay on the market a shorter time. See how we're building our picture here? We've got a Birmingham trend here. I think this one was a better one. Oh no, maybe it was the other one. That link wasn't working. This is the one where I was looking, where the predictions. There, is that it right there? No, that's not it. All right, predictions for 2019. Yeah, it was. This is what I was looking for earlier. Says the depth of recession no more than 7 years ago, prices, activity have all trended upward. We've got people that in 2007, we're going to see one of them in a minute, that was the peak. Houses got to their highest point there, and then it turned. And it went down, 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 down. And then it flattened out, and then it started back up. But it's taken us almost a decade to get back up to where you can sell your house for what you bought it for 12 years ago. That is, the that's affected the market. Let's see, what else do we have? More important, predictions 219 correlated to 18, due and large last year on public predictions. Okay, let me get out of this one. Appraiser opinion of Birmingham. This one, appraiser, there's 2 or 3 really good links in this. Where appraiser's talking about. Here we got Jefferson County zip code, the highest prices. Well, we know where they are. This is the part I wanted you to see. What should be included in square footage? Uh-oh. 10 years ago, we didn't put square footage in the MLS. We didn't talk about it. We didn't know. It's just a big house. It's got 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. Is it big enough? I don't know. How many square feet do you need? We don't know how many square feet are there because they just didn't put it in there. Now it's in there. But what do you call square footage? And he goes on, and this, y'all click on here tonight when y'all get home at midnight and look at this, because it's basically, we covered this in pre-license. It's going to be the main level that is heated and cooled, and the upper level that's heated and cooled. But if you've got like a garage on this main level, that's not heated and cooled. That's not living area, even though it's in the total square footage. When you use square footage as your equalizer to get a price, you got to take these things into consideration. The basement, which is below grade, that's not considered in the living area. Even though it's fixed up just as nice as the rest of the house, it doesn't have the same value as this main level. So we may have to come up with a value for our main level and upper level, and then figure out what this area down here is worth. See, because when they built the house, the basement was there, the walls were there, the roof was there, everything was already there. It didn't cost you near as much to finish this basement out as it did the upper levels. So we have to keep that in consideration on our square footage, because square footage is the way I like to price things. I think that kind of puts it a level playing field. I'm curious to overpricing. Got it right here, hold down. Okay, right here. This, get off of here. Where's the X? There you go. X that out. Come on now. Check the comps. And that's our legal, that's the way we call them, comps, or the CMA. Well, when you're talking to your seller or the buyer, you say comparable properties. You give them the whole words, and they'll understand that. That's where you start. What has sold around here like this one, in the same condition? So like I mentioned a minute ago, we've got a lot of flips going on now. Well, the flipped house is going to be worth more than the one that hadn't been flipped. So we need to look at the comparables, and sometimes you're actually going to have to open the pictures to look. And you see the green shag carpet in one, and the next one they got the engineered laminate hardwood. Looks just beautiful, and they knocked out the living room wall. Now it's all open. That's what people are wanting now. 10, 15, 20 years from now, they're going to drift off from that. Remember 15 years ago, everything was brass and glass. You walk in the house now, it's brass and glass. You say, yeah, what is going on here? Things change, but you got to look at your comps and see what you're actually comparing. Get inside their minds. Well, what are they thinking? All right, well, y'all said it already. If you're looking for something, you're not probably going to realtor.com. You're going to Zillow. Well, that's where you need to go too. You need to go to Zillow when you're looking at these comparables, because there'll be some stuff on Zillow that's not on the multiple listing service, because owners can put stuff on Zillow. So you'll get a broader view of actually what's on market. This one's important. Visit the other houses. I had a lady it was about 10 years ago. Oh, her house was just so much better. She had paid for this upgrade and that upgrade, and she put some brass and some glass, and it was just as beautiful as any house has ever been. And she thinks it was worth this much. And I'd gone on and looked at the others, and I finally convinced her. I said, let's go out in your neighborhood and look at the other houses. And we did. And we got back to her, she was, ugh.
So she had to see it for herself.
This is outdated. I didn't realize, I've been living here and I thought this was perfect. But that's not what they're wanting now. And the ones that are shopping, you think they're just going to go to her house and say, oh yeah, this is the one. No, they're going to go to all these others that are in that neighborhood, because they're probably looking for a neighborhood, particularly a school system. So what's available in here? And if you can't get them on the page with you, that's a way to do it. Let's go look at your competitors, because everybody else will. This is something that I kind of like this idea. Get an inspection before you put it on the market. Find out what's wrong with it now. This house is 20 years old. Yeah, there are a lot of things. The roof may still be the original. Probably the original HVAC. Well, get an inspector to come in, spend $400, because the buyer's going to spend $400 to get an inspector to go in and find the things. Then they're going to use that against you. You knew the roof was 20 years old, and you knew the HVAC was old. Well, get it inspected and say, okay, we know these things are issues. You can't use these against us to renegotiate. So make your first offer based on what you see. Some states have a due diligence period that kind of incorporates that. And you can't come back now after you got the inspection. We've had the house off the market for 2 weeks, and we're already packing. And then you come up with the inspection and say, oh, and the inspector's going to have a list that long, 3 pages. That's what he's getting paid to do. So he's going to give them this list, and they're going to throw that list at you. Everything's wrong with this house. We want it for half price now. It's the only way we can buy it. So this may save you $400, may save you $4,000. And when in doubt, go low. All right, brass and glass lady here. Well, say that everything was selling for $100 in that neighborhood. We should price hers at $95 or $94 or something, because they're going to want to discount it because it's not comparable to these others. So let's come in a little lower, knowing somebody's going to want to repaint and recarpet and do these other things. Price it right. And you also when you price that one at 95 and these others at 100, all these people are going to rush over here and at least look at it. Some of them may bid on it. Now you may get 2 or 3 offers on it for 93, 94, 95. And then you come back to them and say, oh, we got a multiple offer situation here. You need to give us your highest and best. And they're saying, oh no, everybody else is bidding on it. We better offer about 100. And you may end up actually getting more because you priced it lower. Force people into a bidding war. I think that was the last one, yeah. More dangerous, more the same. Yeah, why it may not sell? I just don't know why it won't sell. What do you think? Probably price. Maybe all in your head. We saw that little video last night about the 2 agents. Yeah, 100 days, that's about normal. Yeah, 3 months, yeah, that's about normal. Here it actually tells us Birmingham's average is 144 days. San Francisco, 54 days. Somewhere, I don't know where that is. Oh, average over the United States, 73. We're almost twice the average days here.
Mhm.
This is my pet peeve right here. Pictures. I think the picture, that's it. If you've got bad pictures, they're not looking at the next picture. But if your first picture is beautiful and your next picture is beautiful, they just keep clicking just to look at the pictures. I'd actually seen pictures that looked like they took them with their iPhone. One of them, honestly, I'm telling you the truth here now, the agent sat in their car, didn't even roll the window down, and took a picture of the front of the house, and you can see their window and their mirror right here. And that was their lead picture. You think anybody clicked on that one to look at the next picture? Probably not. Another thing, while we're on pictures, a lot of houses have a little half bath. Well, don't make a picture of the toilet. You can get back a little bit, get more in there, because you get in, well, I'm in the door here, I'm in the bathroom, well, I can't get the mirror and the vanity and the toilet, so I'll just get the toilet. And then they'll have the lid up. Don't do that either. Close those lids. Oh. It prettied up. That could just be something as simple as cleaning it up. It's to you. We've seen these too. We did a caravan a few years ago and went into this house, and it'd been on the market forever. This thing just won't sell. And we all marched in and looked around, and they had their den had a wall probably 40 feet long. It wasn't maybe 30 feet long, and there wasn't a place on that wall you couldn't put another picture. I mean, it was just an art gallery on that wall. And then when we left, they had us make little notes what we thought was wrong, and every one of us get these pictures off the wall. And they did. They listened to us, took the pictures off the wall. Wasn't long, house sold. You don't realize it though. You're living with it.
Right.
Maybe I've seen like their teenagers will want to do something different in their room, and they'll paint the ceiling black. No, the buyer walks in and sees that and just starts frowning. Now it's going to take me 14 coats of paint to get off that.
Yeah.
Go ahead and you do it. Don't leave a black ceiling and off-colored walls in there. Nobody likes it. Start out your prices too high. That's our number one issue right there. The seller says, well, I've got to get this much because I'm buying a house over there and I got to have this much cash to get that one. Well, the people buying your house don't really care where you're moving and how much money you need. They're looking at everything, the principle of substitution. What else is on the market around here that I can get like yours? Well, if you price yours too high, just right away, some of them are not even going to go look at it. They've looked at enough pictures, and they've been on Zillow every night for the last 3 months. They know. They can click. And once you start showing houses, you can go to a neighborhood you've never been in, show about 5 houses, and before you even step in the next one, you can say it's going to be about this much. You can get it pretty close after just seeing 5 houses that are like it. Here, that's what they're doing. They've seen 5 just like it, and here yours pops up, and they see that price, and say, nah, don't want to fool with that one, and they'll just click on to the next one. That's your worst enemy right there, is you pricing it too high. This is one of those cute little animated videos. When y'all not doing anything tonight, y'all can go back and look at that. Deal breakers. what is that, a mortgage company pops up on there because you're looking at real estate ads. Now, after me doing this, tomorrow, every website I go to is gonna have an ad popping up over here for real estate sales or mortgages or homeowners insurance. Yeah, but see, that's what's happening to these people. They're looking at Zillow at houses. Well, the next week, every time they open their computer, somebody's throwing a house at them. Here's something interesting. Remember when we did finance and talked about points? You have the published rate, and then you have an APR rate. Here they've got an APR rate, they're quoting, at 4.01. And the actual rate is what, 3.88? How do they do that? Understand this one. The rate they're quoting is 4.07, but if you will pay a quarter of a point, they'll let you have it at 4. I think I'm gonna call these people. Not have to pay any points and get a lower rate. But I'm wondering, why is this rate lower than their APR? Usually APR is the higher rate because it includes all the fees. I don't know. Some people just don't want to tell you the truth. What? Oh, here we go. It was a slideshow right here. All right, 7 deal breakers. Oh. Oh. Oh my.
And that's happening a lot today.
That's happening more now. There are places that they're moving the cities. Down in South Alabama, there's a little town called Elba. Elba's where 2 rivers come together, and they just built the town right there in the middle of it. And it is flooded out a couple of times in the last 20 or 30 years. And they just went right back in there next time and rebuilt it right back there again. No, don't do that. I don't know if y'all noticed that in Vestavia, there's a car dealer up there that used to flood all the time.
Yeah.
Last 6 months, they've been bringing dirt in there. And they're raising all the ground around this car dealer.
Oh, okay.
Because, I mean, a year ago, there were cars floating.
Right.
Just floating out.
Yeah.
We're going to get more of that.
Yeah.
More of it. So you need to be paying attention to that. Yeah, I'd like to be on this little river. Be real pretty looking at it every day until it's in your house. What's this? Uh-oh, sex offender as a neighbor. Do you have a duty to discover if there's a sex offender in it? Good.
Nope.
Y'all know that. We don't have a duty to discover that. And if you look it up for one, now you have committed yourself to looking it up for everybody in the future. Highways and power lines. Power lines, that's one you wouldn't think about. But if you've got those high tension power lines behind, like running the boundary of the back of the property, you're going to be sitting there for a while trying to sell that one. There's a community right up here that they built a street, and there were power lines over here, and all the houses on this side just sat there. All these sold. Every one of them sold, and every one of these still sitting there. Why? Somebody told me it's the power lines. People think it causes brain waves. You have to put on a little tin hat to live there. Pools. You may think, oh, it's got a pool. I'm going to tell you that a lot of people can't swim. They're not going in the backyard of a house that's got a pool. They might fall in. There are people that have bought houses and filled the pool up because they didn't want it. Pool is not necessarily a positive thing for a house. Now your appraisal came in low. That hasn't happened in a while. When prices were dropping, we had a couple that came in low. And What are you gonna do? Put the house back on the market? Because prices are still dropping every day. So let's put it back on the market and wait 6 months and see what that appraisal comes back. Both cases, the seller said, well, what was the appraisal? I'll take it. So that may be an issue. Oh, landfill, noisy. I wouldn't want that next to the house. You know that's gonna smell. Ooh, ooh. We do rentals here, and one of the things when somebody moves out, you want to keep the utilities on. Keep the air, the heat, all that, keep it going. Keep this air circulating in here and keep it at the right humidity. Because if you don't, you just turn it off and this air is stagnant. And if there's moisture in here, that's what's going to happen. And when that happens, that could be a huge expense. Because the guys that come in and cut that out, they don't just come in and knock it off with, brush and then put some Clorox on it. No, they come up here above wherever it's affected and cut it with one of those knives and take all the sheetrock out. So it's not cheap. And if you walked into a house and you're showing it and you see something like that, you might want to leave this one alone. Because there's a water issue somewhere. And you don't know where it is. They may not know where it is. And did you see this in 2 or 3 places? What else you got? Show me something else. First price is the best. I think I already talked about this enough to where if you overprice it initially, people are not going to look at it because they know what the values are in this neighborhood. And you bring it, and then the seller says, well, I got to get this much. Well, my mortgage is this much. Well, you got to get your commission on there. They just want to push it as high as they can get it, but they think, well, if I just put a price out there, somebody's going to give me an offer, and then we can negotiate. It doesn't work that way in real estate. If that happens, they're not going to give you the offer you think. Anytime you got it overpriced, they're going to lowball you. You're sending them a message, they're going to send you one. It will. And you may never get together. Because you'll dig your feet in and they'll dig their heels in and they'll say, I just look somewhere else. And then after you fighting with a seller for 6 months, they're going to fire you and get them an agent that can sell it. And that agent, first thing they're going to tell them is, we probably need to do a comparable market analysis and see what everything around here is sold for and see maybe if this is better price. What's it worth? There we go, home value estimate. I pulled this up today. Let's just pick an address. Oh, my computer's down there. Let me just put something here. 2301. It's a single family home. This is a rental we've got in Vestavia, and the owner said, see what it's worth. I might want to sell it. Because we've had it, we're renting it right now for $1,600 a month. Well, my thought on rental property, if you're renting it for $1,600 a month, you shouldn't have over $160,000 in it. You should be getting about 1% of your price as your rental number. Well, I'm thinking, well, you get $1,600 a month, or you can go ahead and get $412,000 today. Give me this one. Let's take this 412 and go buy two $200,000 houses that we can get maybe $15,000, $18,000, $2,000 for and move on. And this is a house that has not been updated in a long time. Somebody will come along, this is right on Shades Crest Road, somebody will come along and say, well, the lot's worth $300. I give you $300 for it. They may be better off taking that $300 and moving on. But $412 may be a good price. But you'd have to go into the comparables, and we're going to go to those in a minute and see how that would work. The market's going to tell you. I like this so much easier, jumping back and forth like this. And so what was on here I wanted to show you. 3 telltale signs there, okay. What was it? Let's see what I was looking for there. Well, a lot of stuff on here, but I was looking for the 3 things. Where are they? Did these 4 things for? Well, we've already talked about the signs you should lower. One is nobody's looking at it. You're not getting any showings. And then when you do get showings, you're not getting an offer. And you do get an offer, it's a lowball offer. Those are your 3 signs that you need to do something about your price. If it's the proper pricing. There we go. Faster sale, less inconvenience. And when you put somebody's house in the market, you tell them you need to clean this place up. Dust everywhere, run the vacuum maybe. Keep it clean because people are going to come in and see it. And if it's nasty, what are they going to do? They're going to discount the price, even though you're going to take the nasty with you. And you can clean it up pretty easy after that, but they'll just, because it's nasty, they're going to knock the price down. More people will look at it. If you've got it priced right, all of them around here about the same price as yours will get looked at. Other salespeople. We've got one out on the other side of town that it's overpriced. Everything in the neighborhood has sold for roughly $150, $155. That's kind of the margin we've got in here. They were GI houses at one time, but that was in 1940. Now they've gone up significantly. Well, they're from out of state, and they're looking at values around where they live, and these houses up there are selling for about $200. Well, just right off, we can't get $200 for it. Well, how about $190? Probably not. $180? I still don't think so. We could start it at $170. We're still high, and we've had it on the market, I would guess, 4 months. At $170, and we've had maybe 4 offers, all at about $140. Well, these are 4 people that don't know each other that have made these offers. And they've based it on what they think it's worth, independent of each other, and they're all giving me pretty much the same number here.
Wow.
It's overpriced. I can just tell you that right now. It's overpriced. Better your advertising, all that. You'll get higher offers because they think it's a fair price, and if there's a bidding, it'll push it up. I don't know, this is a cute little video about a real estate agent showing a house. And everything they ask him, he said, I don't know. Is this a thatch roof? I don't know. How old is the house? I don't know. Some of the stuff is funny. And then some of it, you know, I'm putting this together at 11 o'clock at night after I get home, and it's funny then. Fundamentals of real estate valuation, all right, is what is the comparative market analysis? And keep it simple when you're talking to them. Don't just explain what it is. We're gonna look at what else is sold around here.
Mhm.
And then we'll have a basis to come up with a price. That's what it's called. You don't need a 50-page report. How to do one, we're fixing to do one in just a minute. This is stuff you're looking for. Square footage, that's the number I like. That kind of puts everything on a level playing field. If it hasn't been rehabbed in this neighborhood, it's gonna be about this much a square foot. If it has been rehabbed, it's up here. But there's a number, a range right in here that you can use square footage to get a really good number for you. Bedrooms and bathrooms will affect it, land area. Usually if you got like an acre or less, there's no correction for the land. But what if you got 5 acres with this house? Well, now we got to separate the two out. We need a value for the land and a value for the house, and then put those together. Location, all these are subjective. All right. Here's what we're looking for. The best number is what has recently sold. I think they're saying the last 2 or 3 months. That's the 6 months. I'm using a year right now because I need enough sample size to get a good number. So I'll go back about a year, recently sold. That is where somebody has said, yeah, I like it well enough to write a check. Down here we've got the active listings. What price do you think is going to be higher, the active listings or the sold listings? Active, yeah, they're active. This will give you an idea of the upper limit of the value. This one gives you kind of where it should be. The active listings, that's the optimistic price. That's the most I can possibly get for it. So as you're doing this, I'm probably not going to get over that, because if I go over that, nobody's going to look at it. The pending listings, these are the ones that have gone under contract. Well, you don't know what the contract was, but you know what the listing price was, and you kind of guess from there. Well, they might have asked for some closing cost or something, but it won't be too far under that number. So this will give you another boundary. And then trends, we've already saw the trends. Housing prices are going up, let's say roughly 5% a year. So in a year, we got a different number. So as we look at these comparables, if it was a sale from a year ago, we can kind of bump that up a little bit. It's worth more than that in today's dollars. Okay, these are some of the indexes where you can see some of those. Zillow, Redfin, that'll give you some more information. What is in a comparative market analysis? Looks like a YouTube video. Short one here. Uh-oh.
Trying to sell your home, if you price it too high, it simply won't sell. If you price it too low, it's gonna sell, but you might lose thousands of dollars. So how does a real estate broker price a home when he puts it on the market? To determine a fair market value, a real estate broker will perform a CMA, which is an acronym for competitive market analysis, sometimes called a custom market analysis. Exactly what is a CMA? It is an opinion of market value at a specific point in time. Now those words were chosen very carefully and fully reveal exactly what a CMA truly is, an opinion of market value at a specific point in time. The most accurate CMAs compared recently sold homes that are similar in size, location, and amenities, and you should only use sales that have occurred within the past 6 months. Time of sale is very important when it comes to CMAs. The most recent the comparable was sold, the more accurate the CMA. To demonstrate what the element of time can have on price, here's a great example. In 2004, the average sale price of a home in Carter County was around $200,000. In 2005, the average prices rose up to $273,000. That's a 37% increase in just 12 months.
I remember that.
Homes that are listed
They were going up like crazy.
generally show you the upper ceiling of market value, while homes that have expired pretty much show you an unreasonable price.
Mm-hmm.
Because no two parcels of real estate are exactly alike, Comparables must be adjusted for any dissimilar features. Adjustments are made for the date of sale, the location. No two neighborhoods are alike. Physical features such as age, square footage, and number of bedrooms and bathrooms. The terms and conditions of the sale. For example, was it a bankruptcy sale or sold between relatives at below market price? Outside of location and time of sale, probably the single most important aspect in determining the value of a home is its square footage. More importantly, its heated square footage. Heated square footage is a space intended for human occupancy, and there are 3 criteria that must be met. It must be heated by conventional heating system, have finished walls, floors, and ceilings, and be directly accessible from other living area. Accurate measurements of the heated square footage of a home is mandatory to perform a proper CMA. And by the way, if you've ever heard the term bonus room, that's referring to a room that does not meet all of the criteria for heated square footage. It's very important to note that a CMA is not an appraisal. Only a state licensed and certified appraiser can do one, and your bank is going to require that you have a state licensed appraiser to do your appraisal before you get a loan. State licensed appraisers use 3 approaches to arrive at an accurate estimate of value. First is the sales comparison approach. Second is the cost approach. And third, the income capitalization approach. And lastly, to get back to your CMA, you can't fill out one of those online forms. Some of those databases uses information that are 10 years old. You've got to do a physical inspection, and you have to know what the current market trends and prices are in your neighborhood. To get a proper CMA, contact a broker, better yet, contact a state licensed appraiser.
I kind of put it in a nutshell there for us. And he mentioned this, and I've talked about it too. We just pulled one up. We just put in an address, and some database in California or somewhere said 412,000. Really? Really now? What's around this that told you 412? I pulled up the numbers this afternoon, and I'm not sure that it is 412. I think it's really closer to about 350. It hadn't been rehabbed. It's a lot of original 1950s. But see, they're online, they don't know these things. But you do your own CMA, and you're actually pulling it up, and you're looking at the pictures in there. This one has been rehabbed. Oh, this one's beautiful. This one's not. And it's dated. Now, where does ours fall in here? So the online's, and you sell her, and you buy her both, that's the only thing they've got to go by. Is they're going to Zillow or Red, one of these places, and putting in the address and say, well, that's the price we're going to pay. Preparing one. Principle of value is based on the principle of substitution. I can get another one just like it for this much money. Why would I pay you this much money for yours that looks just like this one? So your principle of value is based on principle of substitution. Size. If you're doing 2 here, one at 3,500, one at 3,700 square feet, the value per square foot is going to be real close there. It's a 142 on one of them and 141.89. That's pretty close. But let's just say this one was 8,500 square feet. That one is going to have a lower value per square foot because it's a bigger house. You go the other way and you get one down here that's 1,700 square feet. Its value per square foot is going to be more. It's kind of weird. We're going to see a graph on one in a minute to how that works. But the larger, the lower the value per square foot. Features. What does yours got the others don't? This one said it had a pergola. I said, what is a pergola? I looked it up. And it's a trellis that you put like roses and things on that you walk under, I'm not sure that would add a whole lot of value. But the person that built it and been nursing these roses for all these years, they put a lot of value on it. They may think that is the selling feature of their house. So you just don't know. Market direction, we looked at that. The market's going up right now in prices, and the sales are fewer, so that's going to put even more pressure on upward prices. So our market direction's going good for a seller right now, but not so good for a buyer. What do we want to include? Ads pop up.
And they want you to tell why you took them off. See?
Stop seeing this ad. Yes, please. Let me get down here what I want to see.
A nuisance.
Click on stop seeing this ad.
Now stop it.
Yeah, click. Oh, there you
Oh,
go.
there we go. I guess you have to look at it for so many seconds. Real estate's local. It's kind of the same, like here in maybe Atlanta, Nashville, it's kind of the same, but it's all local. If somebody's here looking at a piece of real estate, they're still thinking they came from Nashville and they're worth that here, but it's going to be different here, and different neighborhoods within this market will be different. So you got to compare them like properties. Outliers. We're going to see some in a minute. We got a kind of a cluster of prices, and then you have some outliers over here. The one that's sold for a whole lot of money. You got to wonder why. Why is that one so much, and you got one over here that's sold for way less? Well, I'm thinking condition, foreclosure, sale between relatives or something. That'll make that one an outlier. We can't use that price. But this one over here, you got to wonder why. Why is it so much more? I don't want to wonder why. I'm just going to throw that one out and stay with my cluster. Justify what you're using. That's why you're going to go in and look at the pictures. What does this one look like inside compared to these inside? If they are the same, well, we're good with this number. But again, condition, age, a lot of things will make these numbers different. This saying use the souls, but not too old. This guy was saying 6 months. I said, I'm going back a year right now. But those that are a year old, I'm probably adjusting those prices a little bit to reflect current values. Construction types. The construction, the only one you really have to worry about is a substance called ethos. That's a synthetic stucco material that they put on houses back in, I'm going to say, late 80s, 90s. They just really liked this stuff because it was so much cheaper than brick and it looked really good. And if it was installed correctly, everything's good. But if they didn't install it correctly and moisture can get behind it, then it rots out your wood. Next thing you know, this side of the house is sinking because the wood's all rotted. It cost a bundle, $50,000 or more to get this stuff taken off and put some bricks on. So if you get a house that's ethos, and it'll say on there, EFIS, just say, this one's going to be really hard to sell. They can get bonds and warranties and things to put on, but the buyer's still saying, yeah, I just, what else you got? Adjusting for differences. We'll see how to do that. You've got your house has got 3 bedrooms, but all the comparables around here have got 4 bedrooms. Well, you're going to have to adjust their value down by the value of a bedroom. And you got to figure out what a bedroom's worth. But once you figure out what it's worth, you adjust theirs down. You never adjust your price. You're trying to find your price. So you figure out, well, bedroom's worth this, bring that one down, this is what it's worth per square foot. Seller financing, that will affect price. We're going to do a market analysis here and make it, y'all heard that, keep it simple, stupid. Y'all heard that saying, the KISS method? It applies in our business. Keep it simple. You're dealing with some people that have never bought a house. They don't know what they don't know. And if you use all this jargon and stuff, you're going to confuse them. And when people get confused, they tighten up and run away. So you got to keep it easy for them to understand. It says, this is not a promotion for pretty software or something like that. I like just to keep it simple so they can look at it and just get the whole picture on one page, really. All right, Birmingham MLS, I think, yeah, this is the one we want. Let's look at this and one will take us a little break. This is our Birmingham multiple listing service. This is the agent portal to where we sign in and can go look at things. The public can't go here. And they can get pretty much everything you're going to see here except agent contact information and the commission that's offered. They can't see that. But there's one, this is I think it's Realtor, Birmingham Realtor. One of them's org, this one's org. That one's com. They've changed this. One of them's com and one of them's org. And if you do the com, then that's the one the public can get in. But we're just going to jump in here just 1 second just to show you how it works. If we want to search for something, we're going to hit our search button. And then we want to look, say, residential. We'll click on that. And then we'll decide, we got all these fields we can put in. What is it we're looking for? We may be looking for a condo or a single-family home. All these things are there, and we can go over and click a little button here, and it'll tell you everything we can choose from. If you're doing a comparable market, we did one earlier, and I was looking for a particular property, and when I searched, all I got were condos. I didn't want condos. I wanted to say, so I went back and just clicked on single family. And instead of the list having 20, it had like 3. Because we were looking for a lower price property, and that's what was coming up, was condos. But let's just say we don't really care. We're just looking for things that have sold. So we would go out here and click on the sold. We're good with that, and we'd save that. And it'll give us a count right here. There have been 341,000 houses to sell since they started keeping records. Now we could go back. We don't care about it since they've been keeping records.
Right.
We want to look at the last year. So we're going to go back here, go back 1 year. And there have been 21,000 properties in the Birmingham metro area sold in the past year. Sounds like a lot. Well, if we can just get 10 of those. If I could just sell 10 of those, that would be wonderful. But you see how we're tightening it down. Now we want, let's just say we want to, we only want it to be in, let's see, let's pick a school here. That's not around here. Which one of these is around here? And I'll have to get more. Berry, that's a middle school over here. So we want it to be in the Berry school system. There are only 2 available that have sold in this last year in that school zone. That doesn't seem like many. There ought to be more than that. But But this is how we start tightening it down. And once we get it tighter and tighter, we'll get to what we're actually looking for. Then we can run a search and it'll just print us that list. We're going to get to one of those lists in a second. But I said we we're going to do this and then take a break, so let's take a break. Back from break. We looked at the Birmingham MLS. Let's see what else we've got to look at. Presentation tips. Tips for a listing presentation. Oh goodness, I need the ads again. Good thing it's not porn popping up there.
If you was watching porn, it would be porn.
It would. Everywhere you go,
Yeah.
there's going to be something over there.
Yeah.
Hey, you were interested in this.
Yeah. Yeah. You know they pay for that little space over there, so.
Yeah.
If you pop on, cause I know you've been looking at no, you gonna buy power color.
It's a nuisance though, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I say, I've got a Capital One card that I made a payment 2 days ago.
So.
So I was on their site,
Wow.
and that's why that's there.
That is a nuisance.
They know everything about us.
They do.
Mhm.
This is talking about when you're making your presentation. The seller, buyer, they don't care what horse you rode in on. They don't care about your degrees. They don't care about how many houses you've sold. They don't care about any of that. All they care about is what can you do for me today? That's what they're interested in. So you go in talking about how big you are and all you can do all this, they're not listening. They say, come on, get to the point, get to the point. Tell me what my house is worth.
Mhm.
So watch that. This was a survey that this was on, I think this is, for sellers. Sellers and buyers are different. This one was on the seller. It says, what? I went through it too fast. And here it is. What do sellers want from their agent? Okay, here we go. 28% of them said the most important thing to them was for you to find a buyer for their house. I wonder if that's the most important thing to them. What are the other things they're looking for? Well, there must be some others. Oh, there is. They not only want you to find them, but do it quickly. I don't want to have to clean the house up every Sunday for you to do an open house. I'm getting tired of this. So make it fast. They want to help you. They want you to help them price it right. 17% of them said that's the most important thing. That means 17% of the people don't know what their house is worth. And when we put out a nice, pretty presentation on here's what sold around you, here's what we think yours will sell for in so many days, they can say, oh, okay. I don't need you anymore. I'll just list it for sale by owner now. Put it on Zillow. This is something they always ask you. This says 12% of them, this is important to them. But when you're there listening, they want you to walk around the house. And before you actually sit down and start doing a presentation with them, you actually need to walk through their house. Look it over. Hey, got to do something about that black ceiling. These are the things, you see them. And then when you sit down with them, they're going to want to know, what can I do? Paint that ceiling the first thing. Get rid of the shag carpet. Get the dog out of the house. It smells like dog in here. Get it out. Because people will walk in. What else you got? Home staging. You'll actually get more for the house and you'll sell it faster if it's staged. And you don't have to, put furniture in every piece of furniture, set it up like somebody's living there. You can have a bedroom with just a bed and a little nightstand. You don't need to put all the other furniture in there. They can walk in and say, oh, there's where the bed goes. The honest truth here, I worked for a home builder, and we had our office set up in one of the bedrooms. I don't know what the percentage, it was a high percentage of the people that would look in there and say, can we use this as a bedroom? Seriously. Okay, yeah, if you want to. But the staging, they're professionals right here that will do this for you. I'm gonna guess it's gonna cost at least $1,000 to stage one. But if you can get $1,000 more for the house and sell it, a month sooner, maybe worth it. Help with all the stuff that's going on. Remember we talked about due diligence and pre-license, or was that last night? My days are running together. Due diligence, one of the things you've got to help them with this stuff. You got to tell them, hey, you got 7 days to find out if you can get insurance on the house. You need to do this, you need to do that. There are lots of things. Get the home inspector lined up. They're going to say, well, I want to do it myself. That's really not a good idea. You may think you know, and Uncle Henry used to build houses and he's going to look through it, but somebody that doesn't have a dog in the fight, they're going to find things that you may say, that's not going to be that spot's not that big. Well, there's a reason the spot's up there, so we need to dig a little deeper. They want you to help on that stuff. Now, this is the interesting thing to me, is negotiate. Only 5% of the sellers think that's important from you as an agent. So if you walk in there and the first thing you do is say, well, I got a gold ribbon and negotiating. They don't care. They don't care. Opposite is true with the buyer. The buyer is something like 80% of them. That's the most important thing they want you to do, is help them negotiate. And keep them updated. Let them know what's going on. This is a long one here. It's a Keller Williams office over in Atlanta that they're giving a class on doing comparative market analysis. We don't have an hour to do that right now. We're going to actually do it for real, but you can go back and look at that as a review. Pricing strategy. Uh-oh. Oh, good. Some of the links get broken. You're not going to watch much of her.
And I'm here today to discuss a burning real estate question about pricing. What is that question? It's this. What is the relationship between market trends and the comparative market analysis? So pricing, has never been particularly easy, and one of the reasons has been because the seller is so ambitious about their price. But over the last few years, it's been particularly bad. And it has been bad because the market has been so darn fickle. And this fickle market has done a couple of things. First off, it has driven a whole bunch of agents out of the market completely. And many agents it has driven into working primarily with buyers. However, the market is shifting back toward listings being toward this favor of the sellers. And so now you have this huge opportunity. And this opportunity is this: to become masterful at your listing presentation, but even more importantly, becoming masterful at your pricing presentation.
Yeah, right there.
Why is that so important?
Priced right.
Because it's great to have listings, but having sellable listings is even better. I did the exact same thing that everybody else did when I came into the real estate market. I did CMAs exactly like I was taught, or did pricing exactly like I was taught, which is go and do it via the CMA. And it didn't work for me. The results were really bad. I got yelled at a lot, I was embarrassed a lot, and I did what most agents do, worked for the buyer the majority of the time. But then someone came along who taught me that there's a difference between pricing and pricing strategy. And using those principles of creating a pricing strategy really helped me go out and get sellable listings, which just made my business completely boom. Well, creating pricing strategies is a really big topic, but one piece of it is what we're going to talk about today. And what we're going to talk about is the yin and the yang of market versus CMA. So let's get to that topic. So what are we talking about? Well, what we're talking about is if I do a CMA and it says the price is somewhere between here and here, is that how I price it, or will the market change the CMA indicator? So let's talk about that. So I have run a CMA. That CMA indicated a sales price of $190,000 to $200,000. By the way, that CMA was Area 5, which is Cary, North Carolina. And so now I have the CMA, and I could just go and price the house based on that CMA. But really what I need to know is I need to know what is going on and how this is going to be impacted by the market. So let's assume that right now in Cary, for this price range in this area, the market is rising, which is this first chart. Notice I have time here, I have price here, I have market rising. So here is where the price is indicated right now, and I have a rising market. What does that mean? That means that the seller could raise their price and sit and wait for the market to rise up to their price. Now that is assuming that the seller has time to do that, right? But it is a possible strategy for them. Now there are some major risks to that strategy. What are they? Well, obviously what we've seen in the market is whoop, down, etc. And that can cause some problems. The second issue is just waiting. You know, particularly if you've got 2 mortgages that you're carrying, etc. But the market could allow them to go up. So let's look at the next one. Let's look at market falling. Because market falling is really interesting as well.
That's bad.
So let's say that
Price
my
there.
same CMA said $190,000 to $200,000. However, the market is falling for that price range in that area right now. So with a falling price, we could not price it at what the CMA indicated, because that's what it's indicating today, but tomorrow it could be even lower. That is the hardship that we were in 2008, 2009, 2010, is helping people understand that we actually had to get in under the price. Many sellers wanted to continue to price it high, and what happened was they went through a series of price reductions and never
Oh, it's
called
probably
up
at the
to the
200
market.
mark
We
right
call
there.
that
It's a
chasing the
190.
market down. And notice that it starts off that far apart and it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And so practically none of them made such a big shift down that they got in under the falling trend. So if you have a CMA that says one thing and you're in a falling market, then more than likely you're going to have to look at how to place it under the indicated sales price in order to catch the market. All right, let's look at the third piece. And the third piece is the market being flat. So if the market is flat, then what happens is the indicated sales prices, or the indicated sales price is just about right. But there's a couple of things to think about. And one of the things to think about is when you establish an asking price right where the market is, and it's a flat market, then you just kind of mush in with all the rest of them. You're vanilla. And it's really hard to get a house noticed
Probably
in that situation.
overpriced for
So you
comparables
could, in
too.
fact, go a little bit lower to get noticed and get sold really quickly. But many sellers, as we've talked about several times here, choose to go higher. And what statistics tell us is that they go through a series of price reductions, ultimately selling for less than what they should have had they priced it back at the right price. And they had to spend all of that time waiting. And even if they don't have additional expenses, you know how difficult that is and how energy draining it is for them and for you. And by the way, you're losing money on the way
Yeah,
to.
you're working all
So
this
that's
time
how the
trying to sell it.
markets work with the CMA. So the next time you pull out a CMA, stop and go, okay, what does my market look like? And how should it influence it? How would that change my pricing strategy? So make sure you do that next time. And by the way, if you like this video, we have a lot more over at strategicpricingspecialist.com, as well as some educational
Click here to
videos
like
and
and
listings
subscribe.
on strategic.
Alright, this is a strategy now that you know how to help people price their property. Remember the seller, quarter of them, that was the most important thing they wanted from you. And then what she just covered was that second quarter of the people, pricing it right. Right now, the market we're in, that was one of the first things we looked at. The market's going up 4.5% year over year. So we're in a market that's going up. Interest rates have dropped. That's going to even support these. I mean, we've had 2 reductions already this year and a third one today. So that's going to keep putting upward pressure on this. So according to what she's just saying, you come in and we've got a range of 190 to 200. Where would we want to price it right now?
250.
Toward the 200, yeah.
You can't go up if it's, can you go up more than the 200?
Well, once you put it on the market, if it's priced right, somebody's going to buy it. If it's not priced right, it's going to sit. And that's what's going to happen like in the flat market or the downward market. Right now, we're in an upward market. So you can kind of figure out all right, it should sell for this, and you can comfortable going with the high end of what you think it's going to sell for. Because even if you've got it overpriced right now, with this market going up, what is that, how much, 0.5%, roughly 0.5% a month? Just a little under 0.5% a month. It won't be long, a $200,000 house that will be worth 200, even if it wasn't 3 or 4 months ago. The market will catch up with your price. So we've got room for error right now. Even when we put it on the market at a little higher price, we still got a good shot of it selling because now we got a whole bunch of more purchasers in the market because the interest rate's gone down. Remember the relationship? The interest rate's lower, your payment's lower. You can get a bigger mortgage. But you can use this information that we've just created and seen to market yourself. You've seen them all the time. I'll give you a free market analysis of your house. All you got to do is call me. If I can get in the house and talk to you, and you're really interested in selling, and you invited me in, we're going to list your house probably. We're going to show you, here's how you should do it, where you should price it. You can use all the stuff you just got tonight to show them, here's what will happen at this price. Well, let's just see what somebody is doing here too. They're using this as their marketing.
Hey, it's Kevin Ward here. I had a great
This guy,
question emailed to me
you
about
need to-
what do you do
Kevin
when
Ward's his
a
name. Got a
prospect or
ton
lead or
of
someone
really good videos.
asks you for a free market analysis. How do you handle that? And they come on your website, maybe from somebody that got something of yours in the mail, and they say, yes, we're interested in a free market analysis, and so forth.
Well, if they
How do
tell you that,
do you go see them? Do you set up a
I'd
meeting
love
with
for
them?
somebody,
Do you set
yeah,
up
come out and give me a
appointment?
free
What do you
market
do?
analysis of my house.
The most
They're
important
inviting
thing
you
with
to help them
any
sell.
person, any homeowner about selling their property is motivation.
So they
Is
should do
there truly a
advertising.
motivation
Yeah.
to sell their
But
house?
so
or not?
he's
So let's talk
talking about
when you get the
they ask you
request
to do that,
for a market
are
analysis,
they
what
wasting
do you
your
do?
time?
The first thing is you got to be very excited about
He's
helping them.
going to tell you, basically, you need
doing
to
the
find out
market
their
analysis for
motivation.
them. Let me tell you a quick thing
Are
about
they
doing CMAs. Number one,
really
never call it a
want to sell
CMA
now?
to a seller or homeowner
Or
or
they just
potential
kinda
seller. Why? They do
seeing
not
what the
know what our
market is.
lingo is. They don't know what a market CMA is. Now, if you say a
Let's
comparative
just-
market
That's
analysis,
basically what he's going to
perfect.
tell us.
Or
I
just
already
a
told
market
you, so let's
study.
just jump on.
You can
But he's got a bunch of good videos. Now we're going to present it. I think it's the same Same, no, this is a different guy,
Okay,
this
back
is a
again.
longer.
All right, so here we are. Now we're talking about the CMA portion. We've gone over a little bit about the 1-minute presentation.
He's-
We talked
he's
about
just gonna
the
carry on that
beginning
same
of the
thing.
CMA presentation.
Alright. We got all the way there, now we gathered our information, we sent out the postcards, and somebody invited us in to give them a comparative market analysis. Will we go? Absolutely. But when we get there, we each have our own personalities. We talked last night about the disc profile, just briefly. This is another one. This is people are one of 4 types. You can put them on a grid. Like this. And you have expressives are right here. You've got amiables over here. Analyticals are up here. How do you spell A-N-A-L? I keep telling people I went to Birmingham Public Schools. I could not spell. They didn't have enough money to teach us all the letters.
They left some letters out.
Yeah, they left one. We got up to O. I don't know the difference between O and a 0.
Oh, Lord.
And then over here's driver. Those are the 4 types of people. Do you know what you are?
I'm
Miss
in.
HR back there, you ought to know this stuff.
Yeah, but all
This is how you put the right people in the right jobs.
I think I'm analytical.
Alright, well, here's how you, here, you'll make a judgment on people based on this. This, you've got a line going this way, and you've got time. Is time important? So you got time on this. The more important time is to you, the higher up on this you are. If you're just laid back, not where you don't even wear a watch. That's one of your first signs. If they've got a watch on, they're probably in the top half. So that's a good indicator right there. If they're watching, their time is so important to me. Like with that rabbit with the watch and went down the rabbit hole. If they got a watch on, they're probably in this top part. If they don't, like me, you can kind of guess I'm down here. Over here, you've got a line that says task. Which is more important, task or people? So, if the people are more important, you're on this side over here. If the task is more important, you're over here. So somebody that's really concerned about getting the work done right now and they're looking at the watch all the time, where do you think they are? Drivers. Those are the ones, I don't want to hear about your personal problems.
Yeah, let's get it done.
Get it done. Get out there and get it done. I told you what to do.
What's on my bag?
Expressives. You know, I use you right now. You thinking I know people like that. And then this is a CPA right up here, an engineer. Both of them, time is important to them, but let's see, the task. I think I may have that backwards. The task, no, people and time. That's important thing. Amiable, time's not important, and the task is not important. We can just sit down and we can just talk all day long about anything you want to talk about, and I'm just right there with you. Everything's wonderful. Yeah, just, everything's good. All right. What do y'all think I am? You know, I don't have a watch on, so I'm down here. I'm amiable or expressive. Seeing the job that I do should tell you I want to express things. I'm telling you things, I can't let a thought get out of my head without giving it to you. So I'm trying to help you. Teachers are down here. Your boss The manager, over 100 people, they're here.
Yeah.
They're probably not here, or over here for sure. Now, a lot of the people that are working for them are over here and don't understand why you so demanding. Why is it you want it done by 10 o'clock? I got all day. Not to them. All right, where I'm going with this, you go into someone's house to do a presentation to them, you got to know what your style is. But more importantly, you got to know what their style is. You got to look for clues. Listen to what they're telling you. Try to figure out where they are in here. All right? They told you they're an engineer. Right off, I'm going to put them right up here in these. They may not want to be an engineer. They just accidentally got in there. Their daddy was an engineer. They're really easygoing, laid back, and down here. But you're looking for clues, and as you're talking to them, they're going to give you clues. You have to adjust your style to them. They're not adjusting to you. They'll keep interviewing agents. Well, they won't. They're going to, what you going to do for me? When you going to get it done? That's two. Remember those two things. What's my house worth? How long is it going to take you to get it done? And what's my bottom line? You answer those three things, your presentation's pretty short. You're through. You're in and out of there in 5 minutes. They don't have time to, they don't care about your family. They don't want to hear about your family. Understand that? You have got to adjust to them, or you'll never make the sale. All this other stuff you're doing, you wasting your time. You go in there and sit down with the CEO of the steel company. You go sit down with him. He doesn't care about your family. Doesn't want to know about your birthday party. He doesn't care. He's going to say, and what does that mean to me? And if you're trying to sell to somebody like that, you better understand that and get to the point. Because he doesn't want to be your friend. He wants you to do your task, do it on time, and get out of here. Y'all got that? Y'all clear on that? That's the most important thing I'm ever going to teach you. All this other stuff, we've been together 90 hours now. This is the most important thing you will ever learn. This will carry you through whatever job you ever do. Get off my soapbox here now. But this is really good stuff. I worked with a guy one time, and I was a salesman. And this guy came down to train me a little better so I'd be a better salesman. And we would go in and meet owners of companies and talk to them. And then I was just in my zone doing what I do. And we got back out the car one time and said, you know, you're just like a chameleon. They said, you will change your color to whatever their color is. And I said, you know, that's the best compliment I've ever had as a salesperson, because I was trained under this. This is how you connect with people. And if you're an expressive, you're going to connect better with other expressives. So if I go in to do a presentation with somebody and they're just like me, we may be there all day long just talking about, you know, we could do this, and we just keep talking because we connected. That's what you've got to do with somebody to make a sale. You got to connect with them. This is a role play. This is that same guy, Kevin Ward. Kevin Ward's the, I don't see his name on there. He's got, I don't know how many videos on here, just like how-tos. Like the one we just saw. This one is about a 20-minute presentation to where he comes in and he's doing a pretend presentation with this man and a woman, and he walks in, shakes hands with the woman first, and then shakes hands with the man, and the man not only grabs his hand, but grabs his arm too. All right, there's this little signal right there. This guy's probably a driver. He's wanting to be in control, because he's trying to control Kevin right there. That was a signal to him. and he would adapt to that. And he would sit down with them, and he would probably defer to that guy's questions. What is it you want to know from me? And he'll tell them straight up, I want to know how much you think it's worth, how long is it going to take you to sell it, and get out of here. It's a good little, you keep this in mind when you watch this, and you'll see how he just pulled it in. All right, sales comparison approach. This is, I didn't want this one. This one's, we can nutshell that down to where we've got, yours is a 3-bedroom, the others are 4 bedrooms. You got to figure out what a 4-bedroom is worth. He goes into too much detail. Here we go, setting the seller expectations. Oops, looks like I've already watched 18 minutes of this. We got, there are 2 of these videos from these people. It's a coaching company. And they're presenting it, and it's a role play situation.
All right, good morning. We're back with another session of our listing mastery discussions and role playing. Today we're
Role
going to
playing.
focus on
We don't have enough people in here to really role play
as it pertains
effectively.
to setting expectations
But
about.
if we did, we would
as you
get
heard
deeper into
referred to
this
from
because
Stephanie and
you
others,
really need
fantasy
to
land versus reality.
role
One of the
play.
Challenges
In fact, when
is sometimes sellers have
let's
a
jump out of
misset
this.
expectation on price.
The first time you have a listing, you're going to present it to me, and we're going to talk about it, because that'll give you one time that you've actually done it, and you're not having to figure out everything on the fly when you're sitting with maybe a driver seller, because he won't have any patience for that. With a driver seller, you probably don't need to get into a real lot of detail. The analytical, yes, he's going to want to know the details. Why is it this? Why is it that? Help me understand that better. CMA reviewing do's and don'ts. Okay. I think this is that same group. Yeah, it is. Just another one of their videos. They got a couple of them. They're about 30, 40 minutes long. We don't have 30, 40 minutes left to do it and still finish the stuff we need to do. But it's there for you. You see that over there, emotions versus comps? That's back to this. Their emotions over here. Same people. So what it was I wanted to see here.
All right, we're back this week on the Listing Mastery Call. I've got a couple of the clients on here with me today. And before we get started, we talked a little bit about the fact that following on with last week, we're going to talk about how to walk the conversation down the line of determining the
walking
price.
the conversation down the
Yeah,
line.
that
You're
kind
finding
of
out
the seller
this
believes.
stuff.
And this may be different.
And once you've got this, then you can take the path that you need to take with them.
So what I'm going to do today
Still
is I'm going to
30-minute
role play.
video. This is, we'll just take a minute here to watch this, because this is
Although I understand you are a realtor and I would like for you to sell my house.
Great. First of all, I would like to view the home in order to do a proper market evaluation for you.
That will not be necessary as I'm very busy and do not have the time of day to day or any other day for that matter to meet with you, so I will simply tell you about my amazing home.
It would be best for us to meet so I can discuss your selling process with you, and I have some important items we need to go over.
My house is a true gem, one of a kind, best location in the city, on the entire planet for that matter. It has beautiful oak cabinets, hardwood floors, and granite countertops, all of which I paid out my arse for, simply because the builder was not willing to negotiate the price.
Well, this sounds quite nice, but over 90% of homes in that area have those features along with a 10-page list of other features that have been added on, all for a significant price, of course.
I purchased my home in high times 2 years ago, and with the market going soft, I need to net $3 million from my sale.
What did you purchase the home for?
$150,000. But since then I have racked up my credit cards on useless purchases, went on vacations I could not afford, and bought a Porsche just so I could keep up with the Jones down the street. My daughter is going to Harvard next month, and my cat needs
Some
braces.
don't like this.
I
They
would
think
like to
I've
list
got to
my
give this
house
much
for $4
money.
million to pay for my stupidity.
I understand your situation, however a buyer does not care that you are a dipstick and does not want to buy an overinflated house just so they can pay off your debt for you. Listing your house for sale for your price is simply not going to work at this time.
I would like to discuss your marketing strategies. First of
She's
all,
not
I
even
want you
here.
to advertise my house in every possible print ad there is, one full page and in color, every day for the next 9 months. Next, you will hire a professional photographer, a home stager, a cleaner, and get one of those cool video tour done for me. I want my house on every website possible and every single social media site available.
Is that right?
Yes. You will then do an open house for me every Saturday and Sunday for the next 9 months, while I enjoy spending the day with my family. When you arrive, I will have a cleaning list prepared for you, and I will expect these items to be completed, all while you sell my house.
When I list a home for sale, I have a marketing budget that I use because I pay for all of these expenses up front and don't get a penny back if your house does not sell.
I do not care about your budget, or you for that matter. And because I need to net
Or
$3
you for
million,
that matter.
I
Did you
would
hear
like you to
that?
cut your commissions and do
Right.
all of this work for free and only get paid when my overinflated house sells. You do not pass go, and you do not collect $200.
Let me break down the commission for you. First of all, I need to pay out the buyer's realtor. RLF of my commission then goes to the real estate company I work for. Then 20% of that goes to the government, 10% of that is spent on marketing your house, another 30% is spent on items such as cell phones and car payments, lawn signs, and overpriced lock boxes, RECA fees, MLS fees, licensing fees and brokerage costs along with mandatory courses. When it's all said and done, I'm lucky to net $1,000 for all the work I will do for you.
I do not care
Sellers
about your own
don't
personal
realize that.
expenses or you
They
for
don't
that
know all
matter.
we do.
Not only am I going to demand all of these things from you, but I'm going to yell at you every day for the next 9 months, doubting your ability to sell my overinflated house. When you try to discuss a price reduction with me, I will simply come back and discuss you cutting your commissions instead. And when my overinflated house does not sell, you will get paid nothing. That's right, a big fat zero. I will then rub it in and make you feel completely useless about yourself and call up another realtor who will gladly run over at my back and call and list my overinflated house for sale and work their tail off for free.
At this time, I'm simply going to count to 10, a trick my mother taught me in order for me to avoid coming over there and putting my hands around your scrawny little neck and dropping the air supply off to your little brain. Instead, I'm going to go home and have dinner with my family because I refuse to list your overinflated house for sale, work me fanny off, all while you abuse me and bring me to suicidal thoughts and do this all for free. Perhaps you could try selling your house on your own, sit in your own open houses and clean. While you're doing it, pay a bunch of money out of your own pocket for useless marketing tools that don't sell houses, screen your own calls, book your own showings, waste your time on tire kicker buyers who do not qualify to purchase your home, miss time away from your family, risk being attacked by some stranger who comes into your house to look at it, or who helps themselves to your precious jewelry, or is being sued, and paying out enormous legal fees which would make 1 year of Harvard education seem like paying for a cup of coffee. How does this sound to you? Good riddance, you scallywag, and have a fantastic day.
So does this mean you're not going to list my house? Geez, I thought all you realtors were desperate to list an overinflated house for sale.
Listen. So does that mean you're not gonna list my house?
Somebody, I'm just gonna tell you right now, they're out there,
Yeah, I believe it.
and they'll interview 5 agents, and then why you wanna fool with them? go in, if you've got your plan together, and you can identify with them, here's what I can do for you, and do it. But we said earlier, they want to get this much for it, it's not worth that. You told them here, well, you're gonna work it for 3 months or 6 months, and then they're gonna fire you. And they're gonna hire another agent that's gonna say, you need to bring the price down. And they'll listen to the second agent.
Wow.
I guess when you tell them I do you a favor and I'm just gonna give you a 1-month contract.
Yeah.
So you'll see in a month time it's not gonna see
Not
it.
gonna work. We're going to actually do a comparative market analysis now. One that we did for a condo. Here's our information. We're going to gather our information on ours is always called the subject property. The others are the comparables. You're always looking for the subject price. You know the comparable prices, and you'll work with them to come up with your price. So we've got a 2-bedroom condo. It's 1 bath, 868 square feet. And what year was it built? I don't know that yet, but I do know these things. What kind of condition is it in? And where is it? All right, so this is down south side near Highland Avenue, the park, that area right there. They just built some huge building of condos right there, almost next to this one. I think they're just now finishing them. All right, when we put this one on the market, that wasn't there. That will significantly impact the price of this one. People don't want old if they can get brand new. So this one went on the market. The timing was okay, but now, if you put it on the market now, these are going to hurt him because everybody's going to go look at those. They're not even going to look at this one. We're going to pull the comparable properties that have sold in the last year, and I like square foot values if everything's the same. Well, if this is a condo, they're all the same. They were all built the same time, the same materials. Everything about them is identical. So if we've got another one in this complex that has sold recently, that should give us a really good idea of what this one's worth. And the time that one's on the market. Short time, long time. Well, if it was a short time, that's going to tell us things like maybe we can get more for this one because this one's sold so fast. Or it's a long time, this one was overpriced. And the only reason it sold is there wasn't anything else available as a substitute. So we got a little bit of stuff here to work with. So what it did is I pulled on the MLS that we went on earlier, so we were clicking those little things. I just clicked more here and got it down to a list of looking at condos, townhomes, pretty much all condos and townhomes. So we're apples and apples. A condo doesn't compare with a single family home. You got different everything. You don't even own the building in a condo, so that's going to affect your price. So we got that, and then what we did was look down here. Ours is a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, so we got 2. Most of these are 2s, so that's pretty comparable. And here's some 1s. This particular development, all of them are 1-bedrooms except this one. It's a 2. You think it should be worth more money? I think a 2-bedroom's always going to be worth more money than a 1-bedroom. So I can take these numbers now. I've got this. This one is, so all of them are sold because we could get the actives once we get this and find out what is the competition right now. And we want to not be over that. We want to be there or under. And we'll sell this thing pretty quick. What else we got? Days on the market here. This is important. This says days on the market, and this is continuous days on the market. That means they fired their first agent, and brought another one in. Let's see if we got one down through here like that. No. Looks like all of them stay with the same agent the whole time. We've got our information now. What we're going to do is we're going to go back and we're going to click on this one, open up its information, and find out, well, it's got 712 square feet, and it's sold for $143 per square foot. This one's got 650, sold for 157 a square foot. That's close. There's 650, sold at 160 a foot. Okay, we're in that neighborhood. Ooh, that one sold for 91 a foot. Wonder what's wrong. Something's different there. But you'll start, once you have a big enough sample, then you can plot it. You can say, okay, I like getting out my graph paper, and then I'll put my price per square foot. I mean, this is the square foot up through here. These we were looking at a minute ago were right in this range. And then this is the price per square foot. And then I'll just plot it. It takes a little while to do it this way, but once you've got the picture, now you can stand back there from where y'all are sitting and just kind of look at that and say, all right, looks like we got a line here. Remember I told you about if they're higher square footage, the price per square foot will be less. All right, this is an 1,100 square foot one, and its price is $105 a foot. That's kind of an outlier. That is not like ours. Ours has got 868 square feet, so we really can't compare that with an 1,100 or a 1,200 square foot property. It's not going to be the same. We've got to compare apples to apples. Over here, the same thing. We've got some over here that are $185 a foot. They're about the same price. My guess is these have been rehabbed. These were built in the 60s. Just looking at the picture, I'm saying these are rehabbed without even clicking on them and opening it up and looking at the pictures. I see those are kind of out of our range. We've got kind of a range here because we had two of them. These two, that's Beach Street, that's the same address right there. Both of these are in the complex that we're in. Those should be good comparables. They're all alike, all except we got an extra bedroom. So I'm thinking ours should be worth more. Let's see. All right. I came up with the idea that these are worth about $160 a foot. And we got 868 square feet. It's just math now. Boom, times this. I think it should sell for about $138. And you got an 800 on there. I probably would have priced it at $139.9 because I like that number better than that one. Y'all good with me there? Y'all think that's about what it should sell for? Well, let's see what happens.
You trying to trick us?
No. Here's where I got the information. We can go on the tax records. We've got a little button there. We can click on it and pull up the tax sheet on this property. That's where we get the square footage. We don't just guess or make it up, and we don't ever measure. I've never measured a house. You're going to get this number from somewhere. You've got the builder's plans, you've got the tax records, you've got some an appraisal. If it's been appraised, the appraiser knows how to measure, and he'll have a number. You've always got to tell where you got the number. You can't say, I made it up. So we've got that number. There's a lot of other information on here that we'll use once we start selling. But for right now, we're just trying to figure out what we can sell it for. some other information that we'll need when we fill out the listing. The tax amount is $1,177. Ouch! For a one-bedroom condo? Well, y'all remember from our tax class, this is a rental. So if somebody moved in here as their homesteaded property, that tax will be half. So when you put this listing in the MLS and you're marketing it, you need to bring that to their attention. This property is not homesteaded. Because they're thinking, oh my goodness, my tax is going to be $1,200 a year? No!
Yeah.
So you gotta bring things like that out to them, because they're not going to dig for that information. You gotta spoon feed it to them. We talked about the areas that you call livable areas. Well, this is a condo. There's no garage or attic or anything, no basement, anything here. It's just all flat one thing. So all this, you got your base area, heated area, adjusted area, total area. All those should be about the same. Looks like we got a little bit of difference here. What is that? Just a few square feet. It's got a little porch on the front and the back. Little big one, about that big. Well, that's not a heated and cooled area. So all we really care about is this number here, 868 square feet. That's what we're selling. We're actually selling 868 square feet of airspace. Because in a condo, you don't own the building. The association owns the building. That brings up another thing. Since it is a condo, the association owns the building, you need to dig into their HOA documents. Well, how do they have any money to do repairs? You ask for the budget. Show me. Talk to me about this. On listings now, that's one of the requirements. You have to have the HOA's contact information. So you can call them and say, hey, I want to see some numbers. Give me last year's budget. That's important. Because I happen to know on this one, they haven't done any maintenance in a long time.
So the HOA is responsible for doing any
Yeah.
upgrades or anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
So those are the kind of things you need to dig in. But for right now, we're just talking about coming up with a price to sell it. Those kind of things will adjust your price once you find that information. You have your inspector go there and he said, well, the roof's 20 years old, probably going to need a new one in another 3 or 4 years. Well, that number probably going to come down a little bit because you're going to discount, because they're going to give you a special assessment to pay for the roof. Get your checkbook out. All right, remember what I thought we should price it? Back up over here so we remember. 138. Hey, looks like I put it on the market for probably 139.9. It's probably what I put it on the market, and we got an offer from these people for 130. And they wanted us to pay $4,000 worth of their closing cost. So it's really not $130,000 offer. They're only offering 126. Why are you knocking it down so much? Help me understand this. Well, I do understand it, because I know that your first offer should embarrass you. You should be embarrassed by the first offer that you make. I'm just so sorry, I can only offer this much. This is all I can do. It should embarrass you. Seriously, it should embarrass you. That embarrassed them. Had to. If we were asking 140, and it looks like about 140, and they offer 126. That's a significant discount. But what they had done is they went and looked at the same numbers I looked at back here. They looked at these numbers and said, oh, here are two next door to it. in the same building, I mean, the walls connect on these two units, and one of them sold at $102,000 and one sold for $104,000. They're thinking that bedroom could not possibly be worth $40,000. Well, according to the numbers I did, that's what it should be worth. So they made us an offer of basically $126. Can we take that?
You can, but I wouldn't.
Well, he wouldn't.
Yeah.
No, I'm not taking that. And we got our pencil out and figured out what we need to do here, and we countered at 142.8. So remember, this is how you do it. You make strike one line through the number you want to go away. Don't scratch it all out or black it out like that. You want to see you want to see what's going on all the time. Here, one line, and our new price, we want $142,880. I don't remember why I had that 880 on there, but that's the number we came up with. I do remember why. And down here, they told us what kind of mortgage they're going to get. It's going to be a conventional mortgage for 95%, 95%. Well, that tells them they're going to have private mortgage insurance on that whole loan. But still, it would probably be cheaper than an FHA loan. And an FHA loan, this is a condominium development. If half of the properties are investor owned, you can't get an FHA loan. They won't loan money there. This one, half of them are investor. In fact, probably most of them are investor owned. All right, so we put that on there and then struck it out and sent it back to them, and they struck out the 142 and put 140. Ooh, oh, okay. We're walking down the same road now. Let's talk about this a little more. So I wrote them a letter. I don't usually write letters to people like this, but I just wanted to lay it out there nice and smooth for them. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your offer. It seems you need $4,000 in closing cost. And we're good with that, as long as we can add it to the price. Of course. Gotta worry that it will appraise for that. All the other requests are okay. He wanted like a home warranty and I think the air conditioner serviced. There were 2 or 3 little things they asked for. And we said, okay, we'll do that. But we need to adjust the price just a little bit to reflect the $160 square foot that the last 2 sales justify. We don't have to sell it. If you want it, you got to pay at least fair market value for it. We don't have to discount it. He'll sit there with it. In fact, he's still got it. I should have told you all that yet. I should have planned this out. But we came up with that 138. Oh, there's where the 800. I just multiplied and got that plus the 4,000. So we wanted 142,800, and that's where I did that. And then countered back. They countered back. They sent me an email back and said they will counter at 140.
So they're not moving,
But no closing?
they're not budging.
Well, they did budge from here. They were at 130.
Yeah, I'm saying, but they didn't go any further than 140.
No, well, you always ask for maximum you think. They can ask for minimum that they think you'll take. And that's what happened here. We just worked it up, and then we're probably in good agreement right here. They said, we'll go 140. Okay? So we did that, and we went to contract, and they couldn't get financed. So the deal fell apart, and we put another tenant in it. So this was back in a little over a year ago that happened. Now, you see how that happened? I mean, we went right through. We had this much information, And we got the address, and now we got the address, we can look at the tax records, get the square footage. Once we've got that, we're gonna get our sample, and then our sample will bring us into, usually there's a cluster. This one's kind of spread out. And we're a little bigger up here, but we're down here. I'm comfortable with these numbers. Y'all like that? Y'all good with that? Okay. Then we just put it on the market, got an offer, negotiated back, forth, and then everybody was happy, but then they couldn't get financing. Had they been able to get financing, it would have been a done deal. All right, let's look at one more. No, here's our, remember we had to get some paperwork together besides the contract. We had to do a recad, and was this our net sheet? Got to have that with every offer and counter offer. All right, well here's the one that I did for the 140. I had another one at the other price because when I listed it, I like to do a net sheet at listing. So they'll know these numbers. They're looking at, what's $8,400 for commission. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Attorney fee, that splits. Title insurance, this is going to be a mortgage, so it'll split. They wanted a warranty and $4,000 worth of closing cost. All those costs add up to $14,000 from 140. Left us with $125,000, and he owed $119 on it. That's why he couldn't go much lower. He would have gone all the way down to 119, really.
So he still had a mortgage on it.
Yeah, because you gotta, let's go back to this one. He bought it in 2007. Y'all remember 2007? Everything, the prices will never come back down. They're going up every day. I'm going to jump on this speeding bus while I can before it gets away from the station, and I missed this opportunity. He didn't miss the opportunity. He jumped on the bus right as it pulled away from the curb. He paid $151,900 for that and been holding it for 12 years. And it's not worth that, even now. So yeah, he would have said, yeah, just get me out of this. Get me out of this. Okay. So we're gonna know, and y'all help me with this one. Oh, it's another condo. A 2-bedroom, 1 bath. We've seen these before. 806, it's just about the same size. But this one's in Alabaster. So we want to pull our comparables about the last year, get our square foot. So pull the comparables. I went with condos and townhomes. Didn't want any single family homes in there. It's a different breed. And townhomes actually are a little different because you own the building. But for this, we could get our price on it because we didn't have any condos to base the price on. So here we are, we got our square foot, 1,040 square feet at $75 a foot. All the way down, we gathered all that up. Now over here, these are concessions. So even though they sold it at $83,000, they didn't get $83,000. They paid $4 in closing, so they actually sold it for $79,000. They should publish that as the sales price, but they don't. They put this little concessions, kind of hide it over there, hoping you don't see that. All right, here, how many days on the market? Continuous days. Those have all stayed with the same agent all the way through. This one probably should have changed agents and ended up giving $3,000 in closing. But anyway, we've got our sample now. So what we're going to do next, we're going to get our graph paper out. And there it is. Now I had a cluster this time. I like it when I got a cluster. I feel confidence level that this number is right goes way up. Here we've got, let's see, ours is right in this range, where we're at the 884 square feet, so we're actually right in here. And that would put us at 65, well, our cluster is 65 roughly to $75 a foot. Got a pretty good range there. Still got there's a couple of outliers way over there. Not sure why there's so much. It looks like about $92 a square foot. Way over what we're looking for. So we think this should sell between 57 and 66. Y'all like that? Do you? You okay with it? You go to the seller and say, I think it's going to sell probably the most about 66. Well, we don't have anything out there except our outliers. So it looks like our sales are right here. So I'm confident that this is what it should sell for. So what happened? Oh, here's our this was stuff that I actually sent the seller. And I put on there, this was your unit, in case he didn't read the address. Here it is. This is where it listed when you bought it for $83,900. And what was it we think we can get for it now? Between 57 and 66? Woo! When did you buy this? He bought it in 2006. Woo! The bus was, it started its motor up. It was ready to pull away. It hadn't pulled away yet. He could have sold it a year later and probably got out. But he didn't. He moved in it and lived there. And then the market just kept going down, 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 down. Because he paid $83,000 for it. I don't know that I can get 83 for it. But let's see what we can do. This was I pulled up the last property that sold in there. That was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. They had it listed at $62,000, and they sold it for $50,000. Ouch! I'm gonna say that buyer agent was a pretty good negotiator. I said, take it a little bit. I got $50,000 in cash money, right here. I'll lay all these hundreds right in front of you and just, you can smell them. Will you take 50? They did. These people must have really wanted to get out of here because they paid,
83.
yeah. Well, they were at, this one was asking 62. I didn't have the prior where these people bought it, but this gave me what I needed to know. Square footage, and when it sold, everything I needed so we could plot it. Oops, where did we go? Where's I had the plot on mine. I did have the plot, didn't I?
Yeah, early back.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. We put it on the market at $79.9 because he said, I'd like to price it at $79.9. And I'm thinking, I don't think it's going to sell for that. But I will do what I was instructed to do. So we put it on the market for $79.9 and also put it on the market for rent at $7.95, I believe it was. And I like those numbers. That's the number I really like. 1% of the purchase price is rent. This one fits perfect. We put it on the market for sale and rent, and it sat there about a month, and somebody said, I'd like to rent it. And we said, okay. Somebody else had looked at it. Girl that's, I think she's fixing to graduate, I think in May, and gonna be living right here with the job that she's gonna have is just perfect. It's a little condo, she feels safe there. But we just put somebody in to lease it. And I think August is when they moved in, so they've been there August, September, October, been there 3 months. She was in here today to sign the papers where she wants to buy it. And she's paying, guess what?
Cash.
79.
No, she's just getting out of school.
Oh.
79.
That's what we had it on the market, and she gave us an offer for, I think it was 70. That's what she offered, was 70 originally. And owner said no, because she also wants me to pay $4,000 of her closing costs. So instead of 70, he'd be at 66. Isn't that what I told you it was gonna sell for? He said, well, if she wants the 4,000 in closing costs, I'm gonna have to get 75 for it. And we explained that to her, said, okay, we can do it and we can make it happen for you, but we gotta add the closing cost onto your offer price, and it'd be 75. All right? The difference between 71 and 75 is $4,000. That is $20 a month. She wants the place really bad. You think that $20 means anything to her? Mm-mm. She was in here today signing the papers. She's gonna buy it. $75,000. Doesn't graduate till May. This guy's got a lease through next August. So she really doesn't need it until then. What we're going to do is go ahead and sell it to her, and then she'll collect the rent. And that'll make her payment. Now through, she said, I'd really like to get it in June. So now we've got to go to the tenant and say, okay, we've had a change in ownership, and she would like to know if she can get possession in June of next year. And he may say, yes. He may say, how much? And she may say, I'll buy you lease out. I'll pay you whatever you were going to pay for 3 months. And he may say, okay.
Yeah.
This is all negotiating. Everything we have talked about is negotiating. We've got it down to that now. The only thing we got to do is talk to him and ask him, you know, can she have it in June? Otherwise, she said, I can wait. So I can stay with Mom for 3 months. She's happy. The tenant will probably be okay. He can stay if he wants to, but he can only stay through August. Owner's gonna be thrilled. He will. We did his net sheet, and he's going to actually have to take a little bit, a couple $1,000. He's going to have to reach in his pocket to do this deal. But he is so tired of this place. And I'll tell you why he's so tired of it. As about a year and a half ago, the tenant at that time called us at 2 o'clock in the morning. We don't usually get calls at 2 o'clock in the morning. They're never good. And she said there's sewage coming over the side of the bathtub, and it's all the way out into the living room now. Well, I'm on my way with a sponge. We did $8,000 worth of rehab cleanup. This is sewage. You don't just wipe it up. All the flooring's got to come up. The molding around the doors. The insurance adjuster went there with his moisture meter. The frame looked fine, but his moisture meter says it's got like 50% moisture in the wood. That's not just water. He said replace it.
Wow.
So it was $8,000 worth of damage, and the owner, we had to put the girl up in a hotel while they did all this, about $2,000 worth of hotel cost.
Wow.
That's when we learned about requiring tenants to have renter's insurance. Had that not, we hadn't, had we required that, that cost had been on her insurance company. But anyway, he's ready to get rid of it, and he will pay $2,000 to get rid of it. But we got more. We got about 5,000 more than I thought we were going to get. Okay. There's a picture of the place.
Is that the sewer?
This is when the sewage back there. We made this through a window. But the new people going that have bought it, they got all new flooring, new, I mean, all the way into the kitchen. I mean, it's an 800 square foot place. It didn't take much for it to get everywhere. And the sewage problem was actually the city's fault. We're going to let the insurance company deal with them. That's over our pay grade. But there's what we did. There's how we did it. Y'all think y'all can do one? Yeah, I think you can. So, did we meet our objectives tonight? Can we explain to the seller how the market conditions are? The market's going up, going down, it's sideways. Can we explain that to them and how we should price the property based on the big picture? What's going on, like right now, I think prices are going to go up because interest rates are going down. And our research says prices have gone up 4.5%, I believe it said, year over year. I have no reason to believe that won't continue. So we can tell the seller that. Here, this will affect our initial price. Okay, got that? We can create a comparative market analysis and explain that to the seller. We can do all that. In 3.5 hours, we have covered everything you need to know about pricing a house and presenting that offer to the seller. How about that?
Yes.
So y'all better off than you were 3.5 hours ago.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Next week, we're going to skip Tuesday and Wednesday of next week and push that to the next week. All right. That next week, our 2 nights, the first night we're going to work with the seller. We're going to, how do we list property? Where's the information? How do we gather it up? Because we've got our price now. Now we've got our price, we need to do the listing contract and all the stuff that goes with that, and then how we market it, how we work with the seller. Then the next night, we'll do it with the buyer. How do we work with the buyer? How do we get, it's kind of the same thing, because it's the same research. If I'm, working with a buyer over here and I've already pulled all this research, I don't have any fake research. I can say, oh no, where the price is really here. That's cheating anyway. You're going to send them the same stuff. Here's what's sold. All right, we're done. Appreciate y'all being here. All y'all on the internet land, subscribe and like. Keep me in business.